Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Blood Red podcast. I'm your host, Keifer MacDonald, and to celebrate Liverpool thrashing Tottenham Hotspur 4-0 last night, it's only right that we get a star-studded lineup for today's episode. Those watching on YouTube will be able to see Paddy's distinguished blonde locks and realise we are joined by UFC superstar and arguably Ryan Gravenberch's new favourite scouser, Paddy Pimblett. Paddy, how's things, mate?
All good, all good. Much better after we won 4-0 last night. We're going to Wembley again. Anfield South, we do need to start calling it again.
Got your voice back as well?
Yeah, last night I was screaming my head off. You know what I mean? You can't help it though, can you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Joe, you've been well and truly upspurred here by Paddy's appearance.
Yeah,
but to be fair, he's someone you followed closely during his days in Cage Warriors. I mean, is it fair to say this is the greatest day of your career so far?
yeah. I mean, I go back a long way. Actually, used to cover Cage Warriors when you were headlining Cage Warriors years back, and it felt like they had a show every 6 months at the Echo Arena. You, Molly, Danny Roberts, Chris Fishgold. When it was like that sort of era, it was great. Used to love those Cage Warriors shows. So yeah, it's great to see you to go on to such good success in the UFC.
Thank you very much.
And looking forward to getting stuck into the caravan.
Paddy, before we get started, has been sat in the Blood Red podcast studio. The highlight of your career so far.
Yeah, boss and here, lad. I like all the little books to me left.
Get a little book on here of yours soon.
And this little cup of being given, lad. Yeah. Kenny laughing at Sir Alex. Fucking brilliant.
Absolutely. Before we get into today's episode, thanks to our sponsors NordVPN. To get the best discount off your NordVPN plan, go to nordvpn.com/bloodred. Our link will give you an extra month on a 3-month plan, and there's no risk of money. Nord's money guarantee. God, that's a mouthful. Should have let you do that, Joe.
Yeah. I'm used to it.
We'll get started then, Paddy. Liverpool 4, Spurs 0. You were at Anfield last night. I mean, what a result that was. I mean, there was a bit of apprehension from what happened in the first leg. Obviously, Liverpool a goal down, but I spoke to you before kickoff and you were fairly confident that we blow Spurs away, and that's exactly what happened, isn't it?
I said 5-0, lad, and it should have been. Should have got another one at the end there. Thought Jota should have scored at the end, but it's one of them, lad. We're already 4-0 up, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I said beforehand, not against Spurs, but it's a very Spursy thing to do, isn't it, lad? Winning the first leg 1-0, even though that shouldn't have even happened. The goalkeeper had a worldie, so it was a bit better last night when he had a little bit of a stinker.
And their goal shouldn't have counted in the first leg.
Yeah, their goal shouldn't have counted anyway because he should have got sent off. But, I've seen a stat there where the first ever team to, in the League Cup semi-finals, to overcome a deficit where they've lost in the first game. That's never happened before. Whoever's won the first games went to the final. Yeah.
And Joe, I suppose that stat just highlights the mentality that Arne Slot's brought to Liverpool this season. I mean, there were so many good performances last night. Paddy's mate, Gravenberch, absolutely bossed the midfield, didn't he?
He's
you're going to have to explain that.
Yeah, for those who... Paddy, I'll let you explain, actually. You were at...
No, lad, it was at Bournemouth away, yeah. And we sat in the stadium. There was a fella next to us, Jose. And then when we got back to the hotel we were staying in, he just walked in. And we were like, oh, what's happening? You're okay, blah. And we started chatting to him, and he's Gravenberch's agent. And he was Justin Kluivert's agent as well, but he was saying he's Gravenberch's agent, and I was like, yeah, but tell him, lad. How good he is and how much we all love him. And then he didn't know who it was. And then I think he messaged his daughter, and his daughter said to him, oh, that's blah, blah, that's me, you know what I mean? And he come back over and said, oh, he'd mentioned it to Ryan and that. So we sent him a video, and then he FaceTimed him. And then I was talking to him on FaceTime, you know what I mean? I was like, wow, this is surreal, this, talking to one of the Reds. And as I say, he's the most improved player. That I don't think I've ever seen a player improve so much over the summer. Yeah. He's unbelievable. If Salah wasn't playing so well and Virgil wasn't playing so well, he'd get player of the season. But I think because they're playing so well, Salah's winning us games and Virgil's the captain. I can't see him getting player of the year over them two. But he's definitely the most improved player in the world. Never mind the Premier League.
Absolutely. I mean,
I've never seen a player improve more at Liverpool than Gravenberch. If you remember last season, he was all right, wasn't he? And he showed some glimpses, but nothing like he's doing now. And I didn't think he'd play in this position because last year, again, he was more attacking. And I remember sitting there, we'd talk about, he used to hold on to the ball too long, didn't he? He had shots when he should have passed when he should have shot, and just didn't really look like he had what it takes to play in this position. It's night and day.
In his Ajax days, though, he was brilliant. And that was sort of a very young team, and they were playing... They battered Madrid that season in the Champions League, didn't they? They should have got through instead of Tottenham. Tottenham got lucky in that one. Lucas Moura scored and Atta 2 goals in the last 5 minutes or something. But for that Ajax team, he was unbelievable. When he went to Bayern Munich, he just didn't really get a chance.
But he didn't play for you. He just sat
there. The squad depth that they've got is ridiculous, especially for a league what's basically got one team in. You know what I mean? They win it basically every year. I think Leverkusen stopped them winning it 10 years in a row or something last year. Proper farmers leagues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he obviously wanted to play instead of sitting on the bench, and he come to us. Now he didn't get much of a game last season, but he showed little glimpses. But as you said, he wasn't like down with what we did. I think now all the Dutch players though, since Slot's come in, have been just went a level up. Like look at Gakpo, he can't stop scoring, can't stop getting assists. Every time he gets the ball, you think we're going to score. And then Van Dijk, obviously, he's always been the best defender in the world for the past 5 years or something. But again, he's just went up another level, and he's showing everyone why he's the best defender in the world.
I think with Van Dijk, when you slowly start to think, oh, this might be his final season at this level, you might start to see a little bit of a dip. You know, he just comes back and answers any questions you might have over him, doesn't he, Joe? I mean, last night he gets the goal and Slot subbed him off a few minutes before full time to kind of give him that standing ovation, which I thought was really nice. But the reaction of the whole Anfield crowd just told you how good, you know, Van Dijk's not that how good he was just last night, but for the last 5 or 6 years.
He was unreal last night. The moment last night for me was after they scored the first goal, and you saw him go over to all the players and go, "Get back! We're only drawn level. We need to carry on." And he just sets the standards, doesn't he? You know, I don't know why Richarlison decided to pick a fight with him, but it just was a bad idea, wasn't it? And it allowed Van Dijk to sort of dominate him and dominate Spurs, and he does it to every team. I think Carragher was saying afterwards, wasn't he, that it's like he needs another level of football to because he's that good. He walks through the game, doesn't he? So, and like Paddy said, I feel like all the Dutchmen have gone up a level under Slot. I think he's just calmed everyone down a bit. I mean, that's not a criticism of Klopp, but I feel like he's taken them to a new level because they just take it a bit slower. They're allowed
Style of play suits footballers as opposed to athletes.
Yeah,
isn't it?
That's true. Yeah, and someone who's a little bit older like Van Dijk, I just think it suits him really well. It better not be his last season at Liverpool.
No, it won't be. Him and Salah are definitely staying, 100%. But lad, I had my Everton fan mates in group chats this morning saying Van Dijk should have got sent off for that with Richarlison. It's like, lad, are you messing?
No, not at all.
Like, just because he jumped on the floor like a fairy doesn't mean that it was a sending off.
What did you think of Richarlison? I'm sure you enjoyed that. I mean, Anfield enjoyed kind of his moment.
Yeah.
He tried to pick the fight with Van Dijk, you know, got bullied off, and then
when he ran and ended up jumping on the floor, it's boss to see a pigeon get sent off like that, like get told to get off the pitch. And he tried to waste time walking, didn't he? And like ended up getting told by the linesman, get off the pitch, lad. Yeah, I was just when that tell come on, I was thinking, please don't come on and have the heaviest debut ever. That's what I was thinking, because I knew Richarlison wasn't going to score. I was just like, it's mad the way Everton fans still defend Richarlison though, like he still plays for them.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying to Paul Gorse last night that with Richarlison, I just don't get it. I don't think there's not one attribute as a striker that I think he's good at. I just think he's bang average.
And he absolutely dogged Everton. You know what I mean? He walked out on them when they still needed a player. And
For all I can see the tears in your eyes off producer.
I just don't understand why Everton fans still love him. You know what I mean? It's like,
you're going to have to come in.
I shrug of the shoulders from our producer
Everton
there.
fans mate to like, we needed the money, lad. He didn't want to leave. It's like, shut up, lad. You know what I mean? And he left to go and sit on the bench because Harry Kane was still there, wasn't he? Yeah. So he literally left to go and sit on the bench. And then they know he's not that good because they bought Solanke.
Yeah, he's done all right there, to be fair to him. But I thought last night, Joe, you made the point then about, you know, Van Dijk and kind of the mentality that you show. But I mean, that just sums up the team under Arnie Slot. I mean, they've been absolutely relentless this season, haven't they? Game after game, competition after competition. It doesn't matter who they're playing, how many changes, they just keep on winning, don't they? It's
just, he's all business, isn't he, the manager? And the players like that on the pitch. Every game, they just go into it. You never see them mess around. They never drop a level. They attack everything. And I was the most confident I've been all season for a game last night. I thought Tottenham wouldn't stand a chance. I thought they might threaten a little bit. I was quite surprised at how sort of weak they were. They didn't come out, did they? They just sat in. It looked like they couldn't decide whether to try and catch Liverpool on the break or just try and dig in and hope Liverpool would miss loads and loads of chances and somehow not get through. But you could just tell that was never going to happen.
It's quite weird
because they got the breakthrough.
They played a high line, but then were trying to waste time. And it was kind of contradicted each other.
And they had 11 men behind the ball in the first half. I was thinking, this isn't the Spurs way. Like this season, like they've been full throttle, haven't they?
Especially when you got Son and Kulusevski high up. You know,
I thought they'd been better off just trying to nick one and putting Liverpool under a bit of pressure, but they just did the opposite.
I proper like Son, lad, but he looks like he's on his way out, doesn't he? He doesn't look like the player he was. That Kulusevski's quality though. He's a very good player.
You say about Son, I mean, credit to Bradley. I mean, how well he handled him. There was that challenge I think it was midway through the first half where he
and he smashed
it was
him.
similar to what he did to Mbappe a few months
Yeah.
ago. He just went through him. I mean, Anfield loved that, didn't it?
Yeah, Bradley's starting right back for me now. He shouldn't be getting dropped. He needs to start every game.
Yeah, I mean,
for our defence to be better, he needs to start every game, lad.
Where do you kind of see the contracts with Trent? And so I know you've.
I think Salah and Virgil are going to stay and sign extensions. I think Trent's already gone. He's already packed his bag, lad. He's off to Spain. So let him go. See you later.
And as obviously someone similar to you, obviously a scouser, an athlete in the city. I mean, can you understand why he wants to go to Madrid, or do you?
No, I don't understand it. Lad, the best team we've ever had, the best period we've ever had. We're going to win trophies. I'd trade my career in tomorrow to be him.
Really?
Tomorrow to be a starting player for Liverpool, the club I love, the club I've grew up watching every day, my boyhood club, and become a legend for them. I'd trade my career in tomorrow to be in that team, lad. But I was never good enough for footy.
And do you think with how long he's taken to maybe negotiate? I mean, even if he does end up signing, do you think there's a few bridges that he might have burnt there with supporters already?
Yeah, probably. Like waiting so long, I've seen something saying he wants 350 grand a week. Like, what? You're a right back. What are you on about? But I've read something there that Salah and Van Dijk have signed contracts, but they're not announcing it because it'll put more pressure on Trent. Just announce it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, Joe, where do you stand with it? I mean, we've had this conversation till we're blue in the face about contracts.
Yeah.
I mean, will they, won't they? It feels like it's just dragged on for the whole season. Obviously, I think Arnie Slott's dealt with it really well weekly when he's been asked, but he's got to that point now where, it's the 7th of February. It's like probably three of the 5 best players at the club haven't renewed their terms. It is slightly worrying, isn't it?
Oh, it's massively worrying. The most worrying for me is I thought they'd get Van Dijk done quite quickly. I thought that would have been done in the first few months of the season. When it wasn't, that's kind of worrying. But like Paddy says, I think him and Salah will stay. I think Trent will leave. I don't blame him that much if that's his thing. If he wants to go, then fine. I don't like all the cloak and dagger stuff. I don't like. I think he could be straighter about it, and I think he probably is going. I think he probably has packed his bags. He's probably made his decision, but I don't see the point in drawing this out. It mightn't be nice for him. It might be a bit uncomfortable for a few months, but then that's his decision, isn't it? So
look at that United game, lad. We drew because of him. We dropped 2 points. What was it? I was saying at half time, bring Bradley on. I was watching it with United fans as well because I was in Mexico. And I was like, bring Bradley on. What is going on here? Like, get him on. He's a better defender. And the stats after it, like, he never won a duel all game. Yeah. And Bradley come on and won a duel within 30 seconds of being on the pitch. You know what I mean? It's just, don't understand why he never got took off sooner. But I remember getting asked at the start of the season, if you had to put the 3 in order, who's the most important to get a new contract and who's the least important? And my order was Van Dijk, Salah, Trent. You know what I mean? That was the order that I had. The captain, the talisman, then the right back.
Yeah, I mean, Bradley comes in last night, as we were saying, he slots in, he was absolutely brilliant. I mean, Son, as you say, he's not the player that he once was, but he's still a tricky winger, and Bradley had him on toast, didn't he, all night?
Everyone says that Mbappe is one of the best players in the world, lad, and he absolutely had him in his back pocket. You know what I mean? And then when he smashed them, lad, and Anfield went mad, it was absolutely brilliant. Loved that, me. And
he'll get to that stage, Joe, won't it, I suppose, where, Bradley, he'll want to know what's happening with his career. He's not going to want to be playing cup games for the rest of his life. He'll want to be, a fully fledged Premier League player, won't he? And I suppose if Trent stays, there's a question as to whether does Bradley go.
I guess he knows, though, doesn't he? I guess they probably talk, don't they? And I think if you're Bradley, you probably think, well, I'm going to be starting every game next season. Yeah. He's been so good this year, and I think when he's come in, I'd be tempted to start him in the derby because I think he's got more fight.
Took the words out my mouth. Trent cannot start in that derby.
Do you think he'll get overruled by the occasion?
They will just run down that wing and attack that wing and probably end up getting a goal down that wing, just like Man United got 2 goals down that wing. Like, I don't even think the occasion to get to him. I think it's just, in general, he's not that good of a defender. And Bradley is. I'd rather have a defensive right back than attacking right back.
I mean, we were saying before, me and Joe, that Bradley kind of gives you 7 at 10 at both ends, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Whereas Trent, you might get a 4 and a 10. But yeah. I suppose if Arnie slots well.
Like even that, what was the United game when Bradley come on, he nearly scored, didn't he? You know what I mean? When he went to the other end, he nearly scored. So he's got the attacking prowess as well. He's just the best defender. I just think against Everton, it's going to be end to end. I can't see Moyes putting 11 men behind the ball. He's going to try and come out at us. And if he does, we're going to need good defenders in the team. Like, I'm not saying Trent's a bad defender, but he's not as good as Bradley. No. You know what I mean? He's just not.
And his entire game, I think, is built on that risk-reward element of, I might concede a chance at our end, but I'll probably win you the game in the final third with the passes, the crosses he can do. But I think Slot likes that, as you were saying before, it's a lot more calm. He doesn't like those risks. He likes to keep the ball, doesn't he? It's a Dutch way of playing, really, isn't it?
They look slightly more balanced, don't they? I think they did last night. And I just wonder, it changes the style a bit, doesn't it, with Trent? He gets on the ball more, he comes inside more, whereas Bradley is more traditional and he just bombs down the wing, doesn't he? But yeah, I just think he might give them a bit more balance, especially in the derby when, like Paddy says, the atmosphere is going to be a lot. They're going to they'll pick Trent, like United did, and they'll go at him. And I think Bradley might stand up to that a bit better. And I think Trent sometimes gets in his own head and overcomplicates things a little bit. I think he definitely did against United. So Bradley seems to be quite confident and on a level at the moment. So yeah, I'd be tempted to go with him. I think that's the thing about the whole contract situation, though, isn't it? You look at those, I'd be the same. I'd say Van Dijk first, captain, then Salah. And then the thing about Trent is, I think he's a tremendous player, and I'd be gutted that he goes. But having Bradley there just softens the blow, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because he just comes in. Liverpool don't need to spend loads of money, and if anything, they might even improve. I don't know. There's always that there.
He keeps it simple. Like I know Trent's got a lovely cross and a lovely ball, but lad, he tries the hero ball every time. Lad. The Hollywood pass. You know what I mean? Keep it simple.
Yeah, and I think sometimes Slot appreciates that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Just to keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Keeps the possession.
I normally sit in the main stand, lad, and it's Slot's right there down underneath me. And sometimes when you see Trent hit a ball and Slot just turns around and just goes like that, it's like, what's he doing? You know what I mean? Keep the ball. But I can remember I bumped into a Liverpool player a few months ago, and he said to me, this is in October, he said to me, Virgil and Mo are going to stay, and I think Trent's leaving.
Really?
And this is someone who's in the first squad, you know what I mean, the first team squad.
I suppose with Trent, I mean, I raised the question hypothetically to Joe earlier. I mean, obviously Bradley's so good last night. If Trent had 2 years left on his contract, say, and Madrid came in the summer and said 60 million, I think everyone would be kind of okay with that. I think
I would have sold him in January.
Would you?
Yeah.
I think like it's more the anger isn't the player that we're losing. It's more you're not getting a fee for a player of Trent's
that
quality.
plays a part as well, yeah. But as I say, I would have sold him in January, mate.
Really?
Yeah. I would have just got him off the books, got some money in for him, tried to sign a little right back to have us cover for Bradley.
Is that just because you wonder where Trent's head's at with the whole situation with Madrid? And
yeah, I genuinely think he cost us 2 points against Man United. And them 2 points, as we know, can make a big difference when it comes to the end of the season. We've lost the league by a point twice. We know how big them 2 points can be.
Yeah.
So, I would have sold him, me. Little 40 mil or something. See you later.
Yeah. No.
And they need a right back, don't they? Carvajal's injured, that's been for the whole season.
Yeah.
Done his ACL or something like that. So
I
they
think
need
Militao's out as well, or he has been out for a while as well. So I'm sure Madrid.
I just don't understand why you'd want to go there. It's a 2-horse race, 3-horse race every year for the league. You have 4 good fixtures a season. Atletico home and away, Barca home and away. Every other team is just like a championship team. Like it's just there's levels. Like the Premier League this season's been the best one I've watched in a long time. Anyone can beat anyone on the day. Like people go on like, oh no, the Liverpool are getting a season where everyone else isn't as good. It's not that City and Arsenal and that aren't, well, City aren't as good, but it's not that these teams aren't as good. It's because all the other middle table teams are that much better. They're all taking points off bigger teams. And I think that just shows how much better it is. When City are getting 100 points and 90-something points, the rest of the league obviously isn't as good.
I mean, teams are spending money. I mean, Ipswich came up to spend 80 million, didn't they? 80 million, whatever. There's more money in the Premier League than ever. More players want to play in the Premier League. The wages in Spain aren't what they were 10, 15 years ago when you had Bale and Neymar and Suarez going over there. I think the pull of Spain really, of course, the South American players, but I think it's gone, hasn't it?
Barca,
yeah.
That Barca can't even afford to pay wages, lad, and register players. You know what I mean? So, why would you want to go there?
It's just the glamour for Madrid, isn't it? His mate's there, isn't it? Bellingham, and I think he's probably had his head turned a while ago. I think that when Klopp left, he probably looked at it and thought, I've got a year left. Don't know how this is going to go. Bellingham's probably been in his ear. He probably has thought it's made sense. I do wonder whether this year, Liverpool being so good, whether he'll have had to think about that and think, should I really leave this? Because I think it could be 18 months down the line and he does go to Real Madrid. He could regret it because Liverpool, if they carry on the way they're going, they could win everything.
Well, when you win that first Liga title, the first Champions League, it's like kind of it's worn off, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you, Joe. I think in Madrid, it's a lifestyle. You become a celebrity, don't you? You kind of leave that bubble of Liverpool.
Loves his fashion and that. Know what I mean? Madrid, fashion stuff. He's a Galactico. It just makes me laugh the way he said, I want to win the Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, I mean, you'd absolutely never win it there. I mean, if they were to win anything, it would go to
Vinicius,
Bellingham, Vinicius, Mbappe, Endrick. Right back is
a right back's not winning the Ballon d'Or, lad.
In that team,
I just think it doesn't matter either. Like, are you really that bothered about winning the Ballon d'Or?
Yeah, I'd rather win trophies with my boyhood club who I've grew up watching and idolise the players than win any individual trophy.
Does anyone go like, Zidane was good, he won the Ballon d'Or in 1999, 2000.
Just because of Messi and Ronaldo, it's become a tally, hasn't it?
He won the World Cup, he won the team trophies. No one remembers Ballon d'Ors. I couldn't tell you how many Ballon d'Ors Messi's won or Ronaldo's won. It just doesn't.
I think it's a modern thing of fanboys of each athlete have been like, well, Ronaldo's won 7, he's won 6, or it's a point scoring exercise, isn't it? I mean, it has lost all credibility. I think the Ballon d'Or. I mean, was it Modric who won it over Van Dijk in 2018?
Yeah.
I mean, or 2019 even. He should never have won that. Salah probably should have won it in his first season at Liverpool.
Yeah,
it's
Lewandowski should have won it once.
Yeah, and they just canned the award for the whole year, didn't they? So
just because they knew they weren't giving it to Messi or Ronaldo.
No, I mean, one player who you can certainly say hasn't down tools as his contract talk has rumbled on, Paddy, has been Salah. Another goal, another assist for him last night. I mean, kind of running out of words to describe him. I think you say with Van Dijk that kind of run out of kind of ways to describe him. You think every time you look at him, you think he might have a drop. He goes again, doesn't he? He reinvents his game. He becomes a playmaker. He scores more goals. He's
I'll
just
be honest,
brilliant.
lad, when a few seasons ago, when he had a year left on his contract, I was like, his legs are going to go. We might as well get the money we can get out of him now from Saudi. And wow, did he prove me wrong. Swear, lad. When he signed that contract extension and just started banging them in. 26 goals and 18 assists this season. Yeah. That's scary gear, that, and is he 32 now?
Yeah.
But when I went the AXA, I was speaking to people in there and they were like you've never seen a fitter person in the world than Mo Salah. He's like he puts numbers up like a 24, 25-year-old, even though he's 32. I'd give him a 3-year extension,
Yeah. I suppose the argument, Joe, is that, you can always, because of who Salah is, you've always got the option of, if you did give him 3 years and in 2 years his legs kind of went, you could always get a fee from Saudi, couldn't you? I feel like it's a no-risk deal. It just makes perfect sense.
I think the same.
I don't understand why you'd be worried about giving him the years, because like you say, Saudi come straight in for him.
10 million quid, that's a year paid off, isn't it?
Even if they gave you nothing, you'd still get his wages off the books.
Yeah.
So like you say, if they give you 10 million, you could take that. So I don't
probably still give you 100 million for him when he's 34.
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
So
if they're giving 75 for John Duran, they're giving 150 million for Mo. Know what I mean? And he's a Muslim as well, so it's even better for that league.
Yeah.
His numbers are outrageous, and he gets better, doesn't he? I can't believe his first season he scored 44 goals, and he's probably having a better season.
Yeah,
which is just mad, isn't it? It's been 7 years since it. Which is a bit slightly scary, but it's been 7 years since he scored that amount of goals. He's a better team player. He's a better leader. His penalty last night was outrageous.
How good was that penalty? That just riding post that mark, like the way you put a post on. Know what I mean? That's how good that was in the corner. Still can't believe Curtis Jones said he'd rather have Hazard in his team.
I think he regrets that though, doesn't he?
He should regret it.
Someone didn't have enough media training, did he?
Yeah, lad, he should regret that.
But with Salah, Paddy, I mean, the one thing I've kind of always been sceptical of, more so probably in recent seasons, is second half of the season he does tend to have a bit of a drop off, but no signs of that is there now at the minute.
I don't think he does. I think that's when he goes to the African Cup of Nations. You know what I mean? When he goes there and comes back, he's much more tired and stuff like that. It's not the same. But that's one thing I've noticed. Salah doesn't get took off. You know what I mean? He did last night, and that's a rare occasion. And Van Dijk's the same, but obviously he's just the Rolls Royce at the back. He doesn't do as much running as Salah. Salah is on for the 90 minutes every single game. He probably needs taking off every now and then and giving a little bit of a break, especially now that he's 32.
And Chiesa's come in and done quite well, hasn't he? In recent games,
I proper like Chiesa. Chiesa, he just chases the ball constantly, lad. He doesn't stop running. It's funny, all the stuff you see, he's getting homesick. No, he's not. See how happy he is when someone...
See the picture of him last night, buzzing on the bench.
Yeah.
You would have thought he'd be desperate to get on.
Like that. No, I mean, he's just like that. made up. He should have got brought on last night, I thought. He shouldn't have.
I thought he would have done.
Little run out. Like, hopefully he plays the full 90 against Plymouth on Sunday.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it, Joe? I mean, the first half of the season, he wasn't really an option there. And it was, as Paddy says, Salah was playing every week. He wasn't getting taken off. But now Keifer, he's kind of gone through that difficult spell where he's built up his minutes gradually. Now, as Paddy says, he might play 90 minutes on Sunday. That all of a sudden gives you a huge option for the second half of the season, doesn't it, with Salah?
He was good at PSV as well, wasn't he, Keifer? He was just really direct, not afraid to get on the ball, forth. I love his attitude, like Paddy was saying. I saw that picture of him last night when a lot of people were saying, I thought he'd get on the pitch. And he must have been thinking, we're 3-0, 4-0 up, I'll get on the pitch, yeah. He didn't. But he was still buzzing about Liverpool winning. And that's just an attitude you want, isn't it?
Sally, he just loves playing football.
Yeah,
He's one of them. Know what I mean? Like when Harvey scored a couple of weeks ago at Anfield, ran down the line to him. Know what I mean? Like you can tell he loves the club already.
You can tell all the players like him. Whenever the club put pictures or a video out from training, he's always like right bang involved. He's not on the edges of things, is he? You can tell the players like
he's
him.
Not an outsider. You can tell he's part of the team already.
Yeah.
As I said, I'd just like to see him play a bit more. But
yeah, because there's a £100 million player in there. You know, if you go off what he did a few seasons ago, how good he was in Euro 2021, he was probably Italy's best players. They won the whole thing, wasn't he? I remember I went to the Spain-Italy semi-final and he was just absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And he's kind of everything that you'd want from a winger. And I think Liverpool liked him very much so before that. They were kind of regularly linked, weren't they? So to get him for 12 million, it was, a perfect deal, really, wasn't it?
Slot's the man, lad. I'll just leave Slot to do whatever he wants, lad. You know what I mean? He can have the key to the city at the end of the season, and mate, we win all these trophies. He can have whatever he wants, lad.
And speaking of Slot, how would you assess kind of, obviously I know Liverpool are, top of the Champions League, top of the Premier League, Carabao Cup finalists, going strong in the FA Cup as well. I mean, I think people were so apprehensive. Obviously, he was replacing Jurgen Klopp, not only for the manager, but also the personality and off the pitch and what you kind of have to carry as Liverpool manager. But he seems to kind of be growing into that role, doesn't he? He's getting a bit more confident. I think he's acting like a Liverpool manager. I mean, what have you kind of made of his first 7 or 8 months?
I love his interviews, lad. He's just straight to the point. He doesn't beat around the bush, lad. He just tells it how it is. Just says whatever he thinks, know what I mean? Like, even that first interview that he done after the very first game against Ipswich, when he subbed Quanta at half time, and he just basically said, they were getting too many chances, needed to change it up. Like, the way he goes straight to the point for me is brilliant. I got laughed at before the season started, lad, because when I thought in July I was getting asked questions about it on like Sky Sports and stuff like that, where they were covering the UFC. And I said, I think he's going to come in and it'll be like Shankly to Paisley, Klopp to Slot. All people are looking at me like that and laughing at me and putting stuff in comment sections and that. But when Klopp come in, lad, we was terrible. You know what I mean? He had to build it all up himself and make a good team. Slot's walked into a good team. He's just had to tweak a few things to make us that good. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what happened with Bob Paisley. He come in when the team was already good. Shankly had left the foundations. And you can see it already. I said I think Slot will win more than Klopp did. And it looks like he's going to.
That's the thing, Joe. I think a lot of people were looking from the outsider. We're looking at Klopp and thinking a good manager wouldn't leave a good team behind because, you look at Ferguson, that United team that he left behind was aging. You look at Wenger, that Arsenal team wasn't great. But it was really selfless what Klopp did. He did the hard yards in terms of rebuilding the midfield the season before. And then he left the team and back in the Champions League, back where he'd taken him after his first season. And I think that deceived a lot of people from the outside because they're like, well, if Klopp's left, it must be a rubbish team. But obviously that wasn't the case, was it?
Yeah, he that could be his greatest legacy, couldn't it? I think he definitely wants to leave Klopp the previous summer. And I think he thought, I've got to get them back into the Champions League. I've got to sort some things within the squad out. He did that. And I mean, fair play to him. The midfield that they bought that year when they bought McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai.
Even Endo as well. Yeah.
Endo's played his part. I mean, the Liverpool haven't had many better summers, have they, than that, the four of them. And then, I mean, getting Slot is just looking more and more like a masterstroke, isn't it? I mean, I think, didn't Chelsea have a look at him and Tottenham certainly
Leeds
did.
as well, actually.
Leeds. Yeah. But like Paddy said, he's so comfortable in his own skin. He's not overawed by following Klopp. He's dead confident. He's always straight to the point. I remember after the United game when we beat them 3-0 at the start of the season, afterwards he went on Sky and I kind of explained how they did it and was talking about tactics. And I spoke to someone in the club and they said, he's got confidence to sort of sit there and tell you how we've just beat United in the third game of the season. But that's what he's like. He just backs himself, doesn't he? And that obviously goes to the players because if he backs himself so much, the players will back themselves, and the club looks confident.
Didn't he turn someone down from the Prem the year before?
It was Tottenham.
Tottenham, he turned them down. He said not a big enough club to leave Feyenoord for.
Before Postecoglou, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, but if you had any, have you met him yet when you've been
No,
down?
lad, I've never met him.
You're desperate to meet
Yeah,
him.
I can't wait to meet him. Like, he's the man, lad.
I've just got into your t-shirt. Actually.
Yeah, that's why I had the process of us.
Oh,
Took
lad,
me
I
a
can't
while.
get over how good he is. I just look at that United now and think, oh my God, imagine we would have got this Almiron. Wow. It was like he was getting spoke about, wasn't he, Almiron, and someone else. Like, as I say, it was a complete master.
It was him and Alonso were the two kind of front
Alonso,
runners.
that was it, yeah. Him and Alonso were the front runners, but the way they've brought Slot in, lad, I just love laughing at me Bruno's mates now because they were saying he'll be the first manager sacked before Christmas. And I was like, are you mad? Like, saying, put your money where your mouth is down, lad, let's have a bet. And like, no, he just will be. Dijk was gone before him.
And then the thing is, he's hardly really bought anyone in. Obviously, Chiesa, they bought the goalkeeper for next summer as well. But, I mean, there's no transfer business there. So he has, all the improvements we've seen this season have been down to his coaching. You know, it's not like he's gone out like Guardiola's in January and, times before that where he spent 200-300 million quid. He's gone to train and put the hard yards in and kind of earned his coin, hasn't he?
Yeah, we're like, obviously, rock and roll football it was, and he's just, as I say, he's just tweaked a few things. When he was coming in, I was excited. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I watched the Everdies and I watched Feyenoord, but I looked at some of his like stats and he had the best defensive stats in the league 3 years in a row. And like that's what we needed to improve on from last season. Like we were conceding too many goals, we were going behind in too many games and then having to come back. And that now it's very rare that we go behind. You know what I mean? It's very rare. Normally we're just in control of the game, like, but not as direct. Like I don't think we have as many shots and stuff like that, and we pass the ball along a lot. But like from left to right, from right to left, just keep passing it around. But we keep possession. Like last night, we definitely had a 70% possession.
The first half it was 73.
Yeah, there you go.
They had no shots either. And I think Anfield took a bit of a while to get used to that. I think in the early weeks of the season, that patience probably wasn't there. You probably saw that in the Nottingham Forest game when, the crowd was a bit aggy.
I don't think I was at that game. No, I don't think if we played for 4 hours, we would have scored that day. You know what I mean? We got unlucky to get beat. It should have been 0-0. They just, like I think that's where some of the European players won't just give a foul away. Like I think it was someone running down their right wing, lad, and Gakpo should have just pulled him down. And then got took the yellow card. And he let him run, got past the cross, he cut inside and he scored.
I think the turning point, Joe, was that Brighton game in mid-November maybe. I think they went 1-0 down quite early doors in the first half and scored 2 goals in about 2 minutes. Salah scores that that trademark kind of finesse, and it feels like that was a day that kind of the switch was flicked at Anfield a bit. I think everyone then was on board and like this is the football we're on board for now.
I think as well everyone started thinking this isn't just a good season, it could be a really great one. And like Paddy was saying there, and I think what's most impressive is last year, obviously they put in a hell of a lot of effort, some great results, and had a bit of a go at the title and then dropped away. But they were knackered, weren't they? They got loads of injuries. They were chasing games always. I think, was it like 5 out of the first 6 games they went behind and then won. But this year, they rest on the ball, don't they? Like last night, they took the lead, then they slow it down, and they just have a rest. They keep possession. They move Spurs about, and then they go at them again. And that's why, like, I kind of feel like it was the natural progression from Klopp's sort of all action to this slightly slower, but that's probably why they don't get as many injuries as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Players no coincidence, is it?
There was times last season when Liverpool were like 2-0 up, and then someone would try and play just too difficult a ball, or they'd go running forward, or they have a shot, and I think like, why are they doing that? You're 2-0 up, just see it out. And Slot's well better. They win. I might be wrong about this, but it feels like they win well more games 2-0, 1-0 because they just see games out.
And I think the crowd is confident when they go 2-1 up. You're not thinking we need a third in. I think everyone's like the defence is good enough here to see out a result.
Yeah, and they'll stay on the ball, won't they? They're so good in possession that they just stay on the ball and teams can't lay a glove on them.
Paddy, we've got a first question here from Mickey from Finland. He says, if we get offered £50 million for Darwin Núñez and £70 million for Luis Diaz, would you be happy selling both players and looking to bring a player in like Isak in from Newcastle?
I think we do need an out-and-out goal scorer. Like if Núñez's finishing was half as good as his work rate, he would have had 40 goals this season. You know what I mean? But I think, didn't we get offered 70 for Núñez?
Supposedly that was one of the rumours doing the rounds in January.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how true that was though, but
if we could get him like 70, 80 million for Núñez, then I probably would sell him, even though I really like him. You know what I mean? It's just he hasn't got that finishing touch, has he? That Isak is brilliant.
I mean, where do you kind of see the strikers? Because obviously you've got Núñez and you've got Jota, and it feels like if you could combine them into one player, probably be the best player in the world. I mean, Jota,
Jota's made of
that's
sugar glass.
Well, that's
you know
the
what I mean?
thing,
It's
isn't
just,
it?
I think it's a mental thing with Jota, lad. Half the time, I don't think he's injured. I think he just thinks he's injured. You know what I mean? It's crazy, lad, how much he's injured. Imagine he was like Suarez and just played through injuries and just kept playing.
I remember Gerrard said something a few years ago with Suarez and Sturridge, that with Suarez you had to kind of convince him that he was injured, but with Sturridge you had to convince him that he was
That he
fit,
weren't
kind of.
injured.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think you're probably right. You know, you'll know better than me and Joe as an athlete that sometimes you probably do get in your own head. And
Yeah, I've went into several fights injured, you know what I mean? Sometimes it hasn't worked, sometimes it has. You know, but footy's different, lad. It's a non-contact sport now. Like, you don't even get tackled hard.
No.
Someone tackles you hard, you get a yellow card.
Yeah.
Like, I find it a non-contact sport now. Like, it does my head in when players jump on the floor and grab the leg and that. It's like, you're pretending to be hurt when in my sport I have to hide the fact if I am hurt. You know what I mean?
And Joe, what do you kind of think to that question? I mean, Isaki's obviously going to be one of the danger men. When Liverpool go to Wembley next month, I mean, he probably is the best striker in the world at this current point, I would say.
So good, Isak, isn't he? The one he scored, he scored one that was offside, didn't he, the other night against Arsenal?
That
It was
finish.
outrageous, wasn't it? And the one he scored against us, outrageous. So, like, I would, if you were
don't know
offering me
about
to sell
selling
them to
Diaz.
get Isak, Diaz is a bit, yeah, I'm not sure.
I think Diaz might
Definitely
go in the summer.
Diaz.
I seen a mad thing, his wages is very low compared to a lot of players.
Feels like he's at that point where he either needs a new contract or you sell him.
How
and
old's Diaz now?
28, 29,
Yeah.
is he?
Oh,
Maybe
is he?
Is he 29 yet?
I think he might be, I suppose 27.
Gakpo's
is he?
younger than him, definitely.
Yeah.
Gakpo's younger than him.
You'd have to sell Nunes now.
28,
If you can get money back from
When's his
Nunes.
birthday? Oh,
He's
no,
just-
his
he's just
birthday was the
gone,
other week.
yeah.
Yeah, so he's 28.
If you can get money back for Nunes, I'd have to sell Nunes now. I think he, and I like Paddy. I feel a bit harsh on him. I like
Yeah.
him. His attitude's great, but it just hasn't worked out in terms of goal scoring. I'd sell Jota.
Would you?
Just too injury prone. Yeah.
I love Jota. He's been great, but you just can't rely on him, can you? It's one game in, and then a month out.
4 games out. Yeah.
And he comes in, scores, doesn't he? Comes in against Nottingham Forest, scores a really
But he-
crucial goal.
He come on for 20 minutes
And then
though,
he's
and
off
then
again.
was injured. Like, what, lad, you never even done anything.
No.
You know what I mean?
Where would he have picked that injury?
Well, that's the thing. He finished the game,
Yeah.
didn't he?
Yeah.
And he didn't train the next day. So
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's a mental thing with him. I just don't think he's actually ever proper injured. He's just like, look at this, I think I'm sore.
it does feel like, I mean, again, Liverpool are flying, aren't they? So it's hard to kind of be too critical, but it does feel like it is still going to be a really big summer for Liverpool. I think there's so many players you can look at and say, I'm not sure you'll be here next season.
Yeah.
You know, I think Robertson's another one. I think he did really well last night, but the whole season he has struggled, hasn't he?
I'd
Yeah.
keep Robbo. I think he's struggled a little bit, and I think they'll probably need a new left back because Tsimikas might end up leaving. But I still think he's got more to give, and I don't think he's been quite as bad because I think we are nitpicking a bit, aren't we? It's been such a good season, and you're looking for little areas of improvement. So I don't think he's been quite as bad as some people have made out. I think he's been all right, Robbo, and I think he'll be okay going forward.
He's been a little bit of a scapegoat, Robbo, like,
Yeah.
but obviously it's just where he's played that Jurgen Klopp style of football, lad. Obviously his legs aren't going to be as good as they were. He's now over 30, but he's still an absolutely quality player.
You could keep him and rotate him. You could get a younger left
Yeah, I
back.
was
from
about to
you.
say, I'd rather sell Tsimikas and get another left back in and rotate between them and Robbo.
It's funny, actually, Paddy, you say about left backs, a younger left back, Kirikez from Bournemouth.
Kirkes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think of him? I know you
I
were
think he's very
hoping to
good.
see him in Bournemouth last week. Did you end up
Yeah.
seeing him at
No,
all?
I
though?
didn't bump into him, but he's great, lad. I'd have him. If Anthony Robinson was a bit younger, I would have took him, lad. But he's like 28 or something, isn't he? And that's just not our club's ethos. So I can see us signing Kirkes. I'd love to see Kirkes in a red shirt.
And how do you see the final going next month? Liverpool versus Newcastle at Wembley.
Obviously, I think we're going to win. You know what I mean? I can't see anything different. We're the best team in the world at the minute, and Newcastle are very hit and miss. I think the moment might get to them because it's the first cup final in a long time. I think the stage might have some of the players' heads gone a bit. So and our players are used to it. It's Anfield South, innit? So
I think for Liverpool, I mean, it's probably not even the biggest game of the month. You probably look at what they got in the Premier League. But where for Newcastle, though, as Paddy says, they haven't won a trophy in 58, 60 years, whatever. So that whole week, that whole build-up is going to engulf them of like, is this the team that ends it? Is this the team that ended? But for Liverpool, you've got Villa away a few weeks before, City away a few weeks before. You know, you've got all these big games coming up. It's just they all roll into one, don't they, a bit, Joe?
and we won it last year with a gang of kids.
Yeah.
It's actually funny enough. I know they beat Chelsea a couple of times, but I don't really remember many finals where Liverpool have gone in real really heavy favourites, and they will this one, won't
Yeah.
they? Newcastle always play well against Liverpool, don't they? They played well at St James's, but I think they should have too much for them. I think there'll be a lot of pressure on Newcastle. I was listening to Talk Sports in the school run the other morning, listening to Talk Sport, and their fans are going berserk about beating Arsenal. You know, it means so much to them, but that brings its own pressure, doesn't it? And, and I think Liverpool haven't been there and done that. I think we'll be able to get through it, but obviously we've got a while to go, haven't we? It's a bit later this year than it usually is, and you never know in the build-up, because they've had some injuries this year, haven't they? Newcastle, they've had Isaac out for a bit, Gordon's been out for a bit. I like their centre half. I think Botman's good. Yeah. I think he's a good player. So if he plays, that might be good for them. But I think Liverpool should have too much for them. And I love the League Cup. I just think I think people shouldn't dismiss any trophy. Every trophy it's a day out. How many clubs? Well, Newcastle are one of them. Newcastle are a club that would kill for a trophy.
Yeah.
They've been, what's it been, 50 years? They haven't won one. You should savour every one.
No, absolutely, and I think last year just showed how good of a day the League Cup final can be, doesn't it? I mean,
it was great.
One of the greatest days of the Jurgen Klopp reign, wasn't it? So, Paddy, just before we finish, wouldn't be a podcast without you, without talking about the UFC. I mean, it's been a bit of a while since you were last in the Octagon, July, UFC 304 at Manchester. I mean, first of all, how's your time off? Spending it being a dad, aren't you?
Yeah, just had to have some time off with the kids, you know what I mean? I went into fight camp when my kids were like 6 weeks old or something like that, you know what I mean? 2 months old, so I needed to spend some time with them. Even though when I'm not fighting, I'm still in the gym every day for multiple hours. So just trying to get time in with the kids. Nowadays, it's normally I'm in the gym training and then get home in the afternoon and just sit with the kids for the rest of the day.
And when are we looking at a return? I mean, I know Michael Chandler's been a name that's been mentioned. Dustin Poirier, I saw yesterday a name mentioned. 314, 315 of two events that maybe mentioned. I mean,
I always tell people not to take no notice of them stupid Twitter pages. You know what I mean? They all just talk absolute pony. They just do anything for clicks. But I'm open to fight on 314 on
is that Miami?
Yeah, Miami. Never been to Miami, so I'm hoping to fight on that. That's my plan.
Yeah, and I mean, I know last time me and you spoke, you said 2026 is the year you're kind of looking to take that belt. Islam defended it. There's talk of a fight with Islam and Ilia Topuria coming, in International Fight Week. I mean, how do you see the landscape of the lightweight division at the minute?
I can't see Ilia fighting Islam. You know what I mean? He's only defended the belt once. Normally, he needs to defend the belt like 3 times, and he's not that big of a star to just jump. He's not McGregor. You know what I mean? To just jump right up and fight for the other belt. So I can't personally see that happening, but we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? I heard Ilia's headline in the 314 event against Volk, but you don't know till nothing's finalised with the UFC. I have been told this and that in the last few weeks, last few months, and we'll just see what happens.
And after Miami, is it looking at later in the year, Abu Dhabi? Maybe I think
that's what I want. Yeah, I want to fight in Miami, then Abu Dhabi in October. Like that's the plan. If I can get it, I hope I can.
And then 2026 coming for that lightweight belt.
Yeah, beat this opponent, top 8 opponent, beat someone in like the top 4, top 5, then fight for the belt. Islam might be gone by then, lad. He might have retired. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
No, absolutely. But in the meantime, Paddy, thank you very much for your time. And Joe, thank you for joining our star-studded lineup today. That's been all from the latest episode of the Blood Red podcast. Thank you for listening.